Hello and welcome to the Beauty Talk podcast. I'm Letitia Bishop, your host, makeup artist living in Hong Kong. Today we have guest Justine Grier, esthetician, skincare whisperer. She's been on the show before a few weeks ago, and we're having her back again today to talk about men's skincare, something that I have been asked a few times on my Instagram by some men. And I just thought it would be best to have Justine come and talk about it with us, because I can give some advice, but I feel like Justine has more experience with hands-on touching men's faces.
Sure.
That's the nature of your job.
Glad you went there.
That's the nature of her job. So I feel like, she
Thank
has more experience in that area, and we can have a fun chat. So welcome.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Letitia. Cheers. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah.
It's nice to be spending time with you again. Always a bit of fun.
Yeah. We're here at the St. Regent's filming an episode, so it's a lovely location. We're enjoying ourselves.
Bit of a spoil. Why
Yeah.
not? Happy
Spoil.
Mid-Autumn Festival.
Yeah, happy Mid-Autumn. Yeah. Okay, so I have a few talking points I would like to chat about. People might think it's a bit of a weird one, men's skincare, but I feel like they miss out on a lot of the beauty talk, and they're valid as well to be having this discussion. And I'm sure you see lots of men in
I think they're also becoming a lot more interested in, health and wellness, and, there's more of a metrosexual appeal to the industry, and men are suffering as much as women are right now, especially in Hong Kong with the acne experience from mask wearing, and they're seeking advice, and if they find the right person, great.
And I think men are just, as the world continues and evolves, men are allowed to not feel so scared and conscious of not being manly if they use skincare. They're allowed to question these things, and they don't feel so
I believe
worried about their sexuality.
Absolutely, and I often find with my male clients, their first introduction into ever having a facial is often done when they've been at a resort or been at a holiday, and it's a very, it's a fragranced journey with a lot of different ingredients being applied to your face, and you do walk out feeling pretty slippery and slidey and greasy, and that's when you look at the psychology behind men and how they like their skin to feel is not their happy place. So it's a little bit too floral for them. When you tap into what men appreciate and what they like during a facial, and you take the time to understand and get to know their psychology behind it, and you start implementing that into their facials, is where you're going to start getting your following going. And I think I've taken time
that they like
men.
in a
let's talk
facial.
about men outside of facials. They like gadgets.
Yeah.
They like their toys. They like their phones. They like anything that they can play around with. And so when they come in for a facial, there's so many gadgets, aka devices in the treatment room, that we can incorporate into a facial that really makes them feel like they're getting their bang for their buck. That's not just having 7 different layers of, or processes of a facial protocol done that incorporates product. We now have the ability to incorporate a microdermabrasion machine, a sonophoresis device, or different devices where they're feeling a sensation on their skin, where they are hearing the sound of a machine on, where we get them to feel it on their hand or their arm before we do it on their face, so they're not scared.
Yes,
because obviously that can be a bit confronting too. Using the high frequency for sterilization, putting them under the LED machine for light therapy and light control, and explaining to them that the technology behind these machines actually starts with NASA. I think when you get those talking points started, so they're actually getting a little bit more education in the treatment room, not being too overwhelmed, I think you capture your audience a lot quicker. And I do find with my clients, seeing is believing. So a lot of the time when I'm starting with a male's facial, I get them to touch and feel their skin first. I want them to feel what I call the crunchiness of their skin, so the built up dead skin cells. I want them to have a look that it looks a bit more grey pixelated because of maybe the black hairs are needing a clean, and we want it to be looking a little bit more fresh and peachy and pink. And then at the end I get them to do the same check and review. And by the touch and the visual response, they can immediately see the changes versus not always thinking they've happened. So giving them a point A and a point B of reference. So
that's really
yeah,
interesting. Get them to be like, look, remember this feeling in about 40 minutes is going to be different.
Or even as we're getting into the facial, I'll get them say, touch this side of your nose. You can feel a lot of crunchiness. The texture is not 100% right. It feels a bit gritty. And then I'll microderm that side of their nose, and straight away, because past that, I want to sterilize the skin. I don't want them touching their face. But at that point, I'm like, now touch. And you often get, and I said, this is actually what your skin's meant to feel like.
Yeah.
But with buildup and debris, sunblock exposure, you name it, skin cell turnover, not enough exfoliating at home, this is where you get to, and that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Would you say, is there a lot of men think they don't use skincare, or girls skincare because, oh, my skin's different, we don't need skincare? Do you feel that there is a difference between men and women's skin? Like, is there actually a physiological difference? Or no?
At the end of the day, we're all human, we all have skin. I think what determines the difference between a lot of our skins is hormones. But in saying that, you can have two women coming in presenting completely different hormonal structures in their skins due to different elevated testosterone or drops in estrogen, whatever. So men can experience the same things, but yes, they have slightly different skin to us in that they are testosterone based, and they may be more oily majority of the time. They sometimes feel like they have a thicker skin. But what we also have to bear in mind is a lot of men are shaving on a daily basis for work. So they're already experiencing a form of exfoliation by going through the shaving process. When I started in the industry many, many moons ago, there was definitely a question on whether the molecular structure of ingredients for men needed to be different to women. And for me, I do feel that that is a bit of a gimmick to sell men's products. However, I do believe there is a place on the market for some products specifically to men's needs.
Definitely.
But for me, it's all down to packaging.
Yeah. It's all, let's talk about that.
Do you think a man wants to have a woman's floral pink and gold skincare line in his bathroom shelf, whether he shares it with his wife or he doesn't, or whether he shares it with his boyfriend or he doesn't?
Yeah.
Maybe some men do.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it's down to packaging.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I think it's all down to packaging. My husband is obsessed with this one Aesop serum because of the packaging and the smell, and he just loves it. And I don't know if it's a great product, but he's using something, and I'm like, okay, go for it. You're at least hydrating something. He likes Clinique as well, the spot serum, the dark spot corrector serum. He finds that really works for him. And it's.
Can I ask you how it's packaged? Is there an ease of use in that particular product?
There is.
There we go.
I think there might be a clear cap, but that's long gone. And it's just, I don't know where that clear cap is.
Wherever the toothpaste cap went, that's where it is.
And it's just a pump. It's a pump in a cylinder container, and he uses it every day.
So I've had this discussion with a lot of my clients, female and male, and I always say, in another lifetime when I've got more time, and I just, there's 7 of me. Yeah. I would love to design a skin care range for men based on dosage, dispensing, based on ease of use, and based on not losing parts of your bottle when you have to.
Parts of the bottle, yeah.
And can I tell you how I learned this? When I moved to Hong Kong 14 years ago, and I lived with my then boyfriend for the first time, I could never understand how much shampoo we went through. And the shampoo we had bought was family size, and it would sit on the bottom of the shower, and it was a pump. I said, why are we going through so much shampoo? He says, because I wash my entire body with it. And I was like, you're washing your face with shampoo? He's like, wash my hair, wash my face, wash my body, wash my feet, wash my bits, all with the shampoo. I was like, why? He goes, because it's in a pump, it's easy.
Yeah, it's there. I'm pumping it anyway.
One dose for face, one dose for hair, one dose. I was like,
yeah.
So when you look at the research behind it, if you have a men's range where you don't have to take a cap off, twist something off, that you're going to lose that part because it's going to block your drain. It's going somewhere, but it's not going back where it came from. And one pump was 1 dose, 2 pumps, 2 doses. So if you're including neck and face, that same rule would apply for men. It's, sorry guys, but you're a little bit more lazy than us when it comes to these things. Just ease of use, convenience, and having the dosage applied for you would make life a lot easier. And having it, you want a more masculine look to your packaging, which is why my male clients are addicted to Kiehl's. And
Kiehl's is
I'm
a
not ever going to
classic.
sit here and bag out a brand, but I do believe that a lot of the time your skin can plateau on these brands and not really move further, but they become addicted to them because it looks good on the bathroom shelf.
Not that it looks good in like the way we would think it looks good. It just looks non-girly, and that if
Correct.
their guy friends come over and use the bathroom, they're not going to come out and bag them out and be like, "Hey, mate, I saw your new pink product."
Exactly right. But it also depends on the trends.
Yeah.
And, if there's a trend going towards more retro style men's gadgets, then that's going to, you're going to see that mimicked in some skincare. But I think a lot of the time it is nice for brands to have maybe both. The brands that I personally work with are non-gender specific.
Neutral.
And so those brands really have to be cognizant of the coloring that they're using and the style of packaging that they're using, so it appeals to both men and women.
Yeah.
Which means your husband's going to steal your products, which is a
Yeah.
little bit irritating. But I have men and women, I have husband and wives that come in and see me, and there's a lot of cross-pollination with them using 3 of the same products, but they may be having 2 that are individualized to them, and that makes life a lot easier and more affordable for them in their bathrooms as well. So
Yeah.
pros and cons.
Another thing is when men shop my husband, when he shops and he speaks to, because he doesn't listen to me, he speaks to the lady on the counter, and I'm like, I just said that to you. But when the lady on the counter tells you, it's different, right, than the wife.
Of course.
And he asks them this question all the time, which I think is quite weird. He's like, how long will it last? How many weeks or months will this product last? And I said, why are you asking that? Girls never ask that because we already have 3 serums of that. So it doesn't matter to us how long it lasts. But to them, they want to know how long this product will last them.
Because they're price conscious about
and I'm like,
skincare,
I don't know.
and we are
it's
not.
It's a 50 ml serum. That's standard. You just buy it. It's 50 ml.
Yeah, so you've either got 15 for eyes, 30 or
30
50.
or 50.
50 is professional, more your large size. But women do ask, actually.
Really?
And I'm going to tell you a funny story. And you're going to love this story because it's about a male client of mine.
Okay.
Now, if you look on some products, there will be a window down the side. O Cosmetics, who I work with, do have a window that people are slightly unaware of because it's very delicately placed down the side of a packaging. It's a see-through bar that if you hold up to the light, you can see where your product's up to.
Helpful.
Rare.
You're rare, very rare, very rare.
And I do say to my clients, listen, you can get brands to add windows in, but it's costing you more because it's costing them more for the packaging. So the packaging costs are going to go up. Your end of day costs are going to go up. So I have a male client of mine, Adore. He's the husband and wife team that I was just mentioning before then. Fantastic couple. Their kids are now starting to see me. I've really enjoyed working with them over the years. They're very dedicated to their skincare. And he's also a bit of a phenomenal baker. So he measures. I don't bake. I can't bake for all the tea in China. It's not my happy place. I'm a free pourer.
Yeah.
Like with my alcohol. It must all be free poured.
Love it.
I don't like measuring things.
Okay.
He measures everything. So he took his product home the other day. He's like, Justine, I'm never quite sure when this is going to finish. So what I did the other day is I got home and I weighed it on the scale. When I got home, so I know how much it weighs full, how much it weighs empty, and how much it weighs halfway through the month. So I know how long it's going to last. And I was like, rather you than me. I don't have that level of commitment. But it was an interesting little experiment.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, is one way to find out. All companies do generally produce studies on using 1 pump per day or 1 pump twice a day and how much longevity that's going to get you out of your product. I do find that some products over-dispense, so I'll let my clients know when they're purchasing something that's got a tub with a flat pump, a disc level pump down, to do a half a decompress versus a full. Otherwise, they do sometimes,
especially eye creams, often like pump out. I think
then
too much.
Then we're measuring in rice grain sizes.
Yeah,
that works better in China. We always measure with rice
cream.
I know we measure with peas and pearls for some reason.
Europe,
In Western peas,
it's always a pea.
Peas and pearls. Diamonds, well, that's subjective. I don't know
if everyone can go with that one.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. Yeah, packaging plays a huge role, and often, like we've talked about before off the podcast, that the juicing side or the formulation side is quite similar, maybe tiny difference, but
Men also
yeah.
prefer, I mean, getting to try and get my male clients to try and use sunblock is one of my headaches, and especially those that are prone to pigmentation doing a lot of outdoor sports. Men don't like sticky and slimy.
No, they
It's
think
just,
everything will be sticky and slimy.
it's a
I'm like,
psychological
it's not
thing.
all. It's not all.
But it's not difficult to work around. There are so many different serums on the market that offer a good level of hydration, like your HA, your hyaluronic acid serums, or your niacinamide blend serums, that still offer hydration to a skin that doesn't have to be in a cream format. And the men don't realize that a serum can be hydrating. So just getting them in on the back of their hands and getting them to go through a little bit of a rundown. Hey, this is not sticky. Look how quickly it
It
absorbs.
absorbs in.
There's
They want it to absorb and
there's
be
no
gone.
there's no glow on the skin. It's not shiny. You're not going to break out into this massive like glow sweat. Once you educate them a little bit more on what other products are available to them to hydrate, they're willing to go that one step further for you. And then there's obviously the white cast that you get from a zinc-based SPF product. I like to call it the geisha glow. And of course, no man wants to be walking around looking like a geisha.
No.
So it's all
Not quite
about
feminine.
just testing what's on the market. I always say to my clients, if I don't have anything in my range for you, and I think I've probably got about 7 to 8 different sunblocks available on my shelf. So if you can't find something there, I'm pretty disappointed. But if you do have to go outside to test the market, just ask for samples. Play around until you find something, because it is a very personalized relationship with your SPF. Absolutely. It's the color, it's the texture, it's everything. And they don't want to be glossy, and they do not want to be geishas.
No, they just want, and they don't want it to sting in their eyes. They don't want it to be sticky. They want it to absorb really fast.
Stinging in the eyes when it comes to SPF is pure placement of product. So it's just, making sure that they're not getting too close to the tear duct. But yes.
But often they will just apply it. They will scrunch up their eyes and just like rub it all over like this.
You can
and you're
see
like,
it. I can see it.
It's so rough. Can we just stop that?
I've just started stocking a dynamic little product. I've got it just in my bag actually. It's by a brand that I've been working currently with called Miso Aesthetics. They are originally from Spain, and they've come up with a phenomenal product that's literally pocket size. It's 100 UVA UVB protection, and it comes in a stick that you can apply directly to the face, and sensitive enough to wear under the eyes and straight across the lips as well,
nice.
which is great for the kids. They're small enough to put into a bum bag if you're hiking. They're small enough to even put in your pocket if you're playing tennis. And if you are on the go and you've got nowhere to wash your hands and then reapply, or kids don't want to have a spray in their face either. I mean, it's asphyxiating.
Especially in COVID time, you could be hiking and be like, "Oh, 2 hours is gone."
Yeah. You've
got to
whip
this out. Don't need to wash my hands.
Exactly right. Pat your face down with something to dry off the excess sweat, and off you go to reapply. So I think it's just, again, educating your male clients as to what's available to them. And
we'll leave some links down below with some sunscreens we both love. I think that could be helpful for people. Just to go in to stores and try some on the back of your hand and give it a try. Just see if it leaves a white cast on your skin, or if it absorbs nicely for you. It's a journey.
And then, of course, the other thing that men have that we don't have, or the majority of us don't have, is beards. So I think definitely if you're going to look for a gap in the market where men have their own products, that's where it is.
Beard products.
Aftershave.
Dealing with shaving.
One of the first brands I worked with when I moved to Hong Kong was actually Dr. Murad, and he had a great men's range, and the men's range was only 3 products, which I thought was smart, because at the end of the day, skin is skin, and it would not serve his purpose to have, he's got 7 or 8 different lines under his brand, and he still wants men to access those. But this was all down to protecting the skin from shave rash and beard rash. Look at a lot of the brands will produce a shave oil to prepare the skin before you shave, or a balm for afterwards, or a recovery mask to calm the skin down if you have got a little bit of a reaction to your shave, whether you've left your blade too blunt or your wife's used it to shave their legs. Oops. Or something like that. So there's definitely a place on the market for men's focused products that are just more focused to that.
The shaving, the whole shaving realm of things, So what would you suggest to women out there, or anyone wanting to help the men in their lives start a routine? If they literally, I am flabbergasted, but I have heard people, they use not one single thing. And I just think, after a shower, how could you just not put anything? My skin would just be
How
so
can you
dry.
not wash your face?
They use nothing. So what are the
Keep it simple to start.
obviously build
Absolutely,
up,
yeah.
but what are the non-negotiables? Where would you lead people into starting? What category of products would you say they need?
I mean, for me, it's always going to be cleanse, protect, and SPF to get them into something basic. But I do find one of my favorites for men is, and I stock a beautiful one, two of these cleansers actually under the Skin IQ brand, my own brand, are mousse cleansers.
Mousse, oh yeah.
Right. Who cares if the top goes missing, because they do have a lid. But when you're pumping a mousse into the hand, in the shower, you can use it in the shower, at the basin. So we want for men something that can be used in the shower. It goes on and washes off easily. It's not something you have to apply dry, then emulsify,
No,
then
too
use
many.
cotton pads to take off,
goodness,
engage
no.
sponges, blah, blah, blah. So the mousse cleansers are fantastic.
Interesting you call it a mousse cleanser. Most people call it foaming cleansers, and that's got a bad rap around the world.
Foam can actually refer to quite a few different things. It just means something that lathers up.
Lathers up, yeah. And I think I've used one. Often in the past we would say don't use foaming cleansers, they're very stripping and drying. But I've used one from that Japanese brand Curel that you get in Watson's and Sasa here, in the pharmacy here. And it was really good. It was nice.
I find that the mousse formulations are not the same as foam cleansers. They're less stripping. The SkinCeuticals one, which is a top seller of mine, the Soothing Foaming Cleanser that comes in a mousse dispenser.
And that's the difference, right? It creates the foam
through the mechanism.
But
it's also down to the formulation.
That allows it to do that as well.
A lot of the time when you are using a clear gel that you add water to make a lather, that to me is a foam cleanser.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And that a lot of people should not be using past the age of 30 or 35. As soon as the skin starts becoming a little bit more dry or aging or maturing, or especially if you're using a lot of high active ingredients in combination, I just find it all gets too stripping.
Yeah.
So those I still like to keep for my teens. When I've got my adult clients coming and using those, I want to get them off. I want to transfer them onto something else. But again, getting back to originally what we're speaking about, for men, I want products that are easy for them to use in the shower. Exfoliating is key for them because whilst they shave here, they get very built up on the nose, a lot of the time on the temples, and ingrown hairs along the neckline because coming from a hair removal history when I was working in Sydney, the hair grows in quite a few different directions. There's a lot of sweat happening there. People are working in collars and ties. So we still want something that they're going to use everywhere. So for me, a good cleanser that they can use with ease in the shower or at the basin, a good exfoliant. And then if they are really dead set against not wanting to use something to moisturize during the day, which we will work on them over time, a light serum for the evening. Some people prefer oil-free as well. And if we can try and find a sunblock moisturizer in one.
Yeah.
Do you remember the days of shampoo conditioner in one?
Yes. Shampoo, conditioner, I think even body wash, but mostly shampoo and conditioner. In one.
I'm like, no.
I used to use that going camping growing up. My mum would always just pack the 2-in-1 one.
And for me, when they brought out SPF moisturizers, I was like, ooh, it's like the shampoo conditioner thing.
But, really?
But it's one of my favorites because it does make life easier. And if we're going to have to combine two of your most important ones, your SPF and your moisture, that's a good one for guys.
Yeah. I often think, especially for summertime, that sunscreens, just a face sunscreen, is moisturizing enough for men.
Absolutely can be. And funny enough, I was listening to one of my favorite people that I follow on Spotify. I listened to his show called the Holistic Plastic Surgery Show. It's Dr. Anthony Ewan, originally from Korea, now has a very successful practice in Michigan, Detroit. We were talking on, can an SPF product, can a sunscreen be moisturizing enough, which for some cases it can.
Just depends on the product, but I absolutely agree that it can.
I'm not a huge fan of facial wipes. I think they are there for an emergency.
So for what our queen says, Caroline Hirons, we both love her.
Yes.
They're for flights, fannies and festivals.
Love it.
Emergency situations.
Correct.
Perfect for that.
Correct. You know, the micellar waters for men in the morning, if that's going to make their life easier with a cotton pad, great. If they're not showering in the morning, but they still need to give their skin a cleanse and they don't want to go through the whole rigmarole of pump, foam, eat, clink, clink, what, just a cotton pad over the face, but just a quick click over the face. So it's just working with the behaviors and the psychology of men to do with their skincare, I find is important. It's as important with my female clients, but this is ease and convenience. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not. It
won't happen.
No man's going to do an 8 to 20 step Korean program. Let's be honest.
No. So I always think if you can get them to have a cleanser, a moisturizer, and an SPF, they're the minimum things.
I used to see a lot of the Cathay pilots back in the days, and their wives. So the wives would come in first, and generally the best way to get their husbands in, they're like, I can't have my husband's blackheads anymore. Blah, 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 blah.
Fix them for me.
How am I going to get him into the treatment room? I was like, you bought him a Father's Day present from the kids. Tell him you cannot use it for any other thing but for a man's facial, and we're going to get him in. So this is how we'd like. What are we going to do? We'd conspire together to get them in. Yeah, okay. Father's Day present would be a men's facial.
Good.
And I would say the only thing is that men are concerned about if it starts becoming an issue with their skin is pigmentation.
Yes, sunspots is something I've been asked about.
Trying to get them to be more regular with their SPF. As I said, find the one you love and stick to it. Marry it for life.
Yeah, it's just like you brush your teeth, you wear your sunscreen.
Yeah, exactly right. And vitamin C.
Vitamin C is the next step. If
some
man has already got the basics down, you would then suggest adding a vitamin C.
I want an antioxidant component to their routine. Vitamin C being your most valuable one, but finding the one that doesn't aggravate their skin in combination with their sporting activities and the rest of their routine. That for me has been one that men are pretty okay to get invested in, especially knowing that we live in one of the most polluted cities in the world, and it is a natural pollutant on the skin during the day. That's been a good seller. Yeah.
Okay, very good. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about makeup for men from my side.
Sure.
I feel like
I'd be interested to hear that too.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
People get surprised when I say I do men's grooming for men for photo shoots for LinkedIn headshots. It's quite common. I am asked to do
Armani had quite a big. They got quite a bit of exposure with their men's range when it came out.
Tom Ford also have a men's makeup range. Yeah. I mean, again, it's exactly the same products, but it's just packaged for men, which I'm sure Tom Ford and Armani do very well.
I mean, even with some of my sunscreens that come with a tint, so they come with a universal, it's called a universal color corrector in it that's meant to suit most skin types between skin type 1 and 3.
The redness and things like
that. So my male clients that do suffer from rosacea and flushing, and they are in a client-facing boardroom environment where maybe under nervous conditions they are going to flush a little bit more too. SkinCeuticals does a really good, very, very lightweight, almost drips out. It's a 50 plus SPF that's got a very light tint. So we're talking about your skin would be perfect for your skin tone. I'm slightly darker than you. We can go up to something else, but we want to find something for them that's got no mica extract or no glowing extract in it for them. Yeah. And once that's almost like a little bit of makeup coverage if you think about it.
And it's a 2-in-1 as well, less steps.
Yes.
But I think if men are wanting to wear makeup, they don't mind about the extra steps if they're already thinking about that.
I will often, with my male clients before they go, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to use a tinted SPF on you. If you don't like it, I'll take it off. But I just want to show you in the mirror what it looks like. And I do keep my favorite brand of concealers at work, the IT Cosmetics ones, because they're small. Yeah. They have quite a good range of colors. And I show them, like if you've got the veins around your nose that are unsightly, if you've got the broken capillaries that are causing you a bit of embarrassment, you can blend as long as you blend it. And they're on board.
They're on board. Yeah, I think more men are coming on board. The most things that I do when I groom men, which just means put makeup on men, I just hydrate their skin, which often feels like sandpaper when I'm rubbing it on.
It's
They need to come
that's
and
my word. It's the
crunchy.
crunchy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's
need
the
to come and
crunchy.
see you. I always be like, so what's your skincare routine like? And they end up getting a full-on like consultation and a few screenshots of products they should maybe try and look at. Is I often, do concealer often in the center of the face, around the red nose, under the eyes, but that's probably next level for a lot of men. But the main thing that makes their face change is adding some brows. I put a
One
little
of my
bit of
friends has had his
brows.
microbladed.
Yeah, a lot get microbladed.
I was so
Heterosexual,
impressed when
gay men, all men. Yeah,
I hadn't seen him
it's
for
really
ages.
common here.
I know, but
Really
I was
common.
still, I hadn't seen him for ages. And I sat down, obviously no names mentioned, and I was like,
What's different?
you just look awake.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
You don't look insipid anymore. Like,
It's
really
remarkable when you put
impressive.
brows on.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. So you could, if you,
What's
I think,
good for the goose is good for the gander.
yeah, no brows. And I put them on for the photos because also when you're doing photography, the flash goes right through the brow hairs and it makes them look even more sparse.
Mm-hmm.
So I always put brows on men, very soft, no harsh, Instagram brows are happening here. Just very soft shadow.
We're not going for the Frida look.
No, nothing like that. I mean, yeah, I could pull a tweezer out here and there. That would be fun. But I don't offer that. But just maybe if you can find a brow pen if you want, and you could fill your brows in and get one with a twist up brow pencil on the end and the spoolie, which is like the little haired brush on the other end, and do some light feathering strokes, twist it around, use the spoolie to brush it out, make it look really soft. You guys might find you like it.
I had a client recently reach out to me, and I've been seeing him and his wife for many years, 2 kids. So that's how I know how long it's been. And he said to me the other day, he's like, Justine, I feel like my eyebrows are starting to overtake my face. Like I feel like they walk into a room before I do. He's like, can we chat about that when I come in? I said, absolutely, no problem at all. And he came and I said, listen, I don't want you to look too effeminate. So let's start at what we'll call phase 1. We're going to trim them up a bit, take out some of the unruly ones, but mainly down to trimming. Like he just had some granddaddies in there, the longer ones, and a few grays that we yanked out as well. So as soon as you're taking those out, you're taking age off the face. And I said, let's start at stage 1. And if you want a bit more off next time, let's do it. But he's, your hair's thinning a little bit, the eyebrows are starting to take over. There's a lot of male grooming that men aren't aware that can actually work for them. So when men come into me for a facial, I do a complimentary service of, I've got a tiny little hair clipper, which is a battery operated device that gets disinfected with alcohol. And we make sure any hairs that I can see coming out your nose, your wife can see. Not pretty.
Yeah.
Any hairs that I can see coming out your ears, your wife can see. Not pretty. So I think that is part of the whole package. They come in, they walk out feeling really fresh. One of my favorite stories in the history was receiving an email from a client of mine that said, thank you for making my husband look like he did 16 years ago when I met him.
Oh,
yeah,
so sweet. Yeah. It's true. As men get older, they start to grow some hair, as we do as women too. When we get older, we get the chin hairs start to happen, unfortunately. And men get hairs in other places, earlobes. Higher up on the cheeks, some random ones. The brows need a little bit more grooming.
Men also don't. They have this thing about shaving too close to the eye, and I do a treatment called dermaplaning, which you've had with me before, I think, Letitia. The one with the surgical blade, one-time use only, so all sterile and everything, where we remove fine vellus hair and dead skin off the face. But men come in, and I clean up right around the eyes, right across the temples, so it just gives a really fresh look. A lot of the time, if those hairs do have a little bit of pigment in, it can actually cause a bit of a shadow under the eyes, which, as you would know, as a makeup artist ages the face.
So don't be afraid to do some extra grooming like that. And also another thing I do on men is bronzer sometimes. Some bronzer on the top of the forehead, around the outsides of the face often.
Have you ever tried the drunk elephant drops?
No, I know you like those. I've not. Some men would like those.
Men could actually put a drop of that into their moisturizer to give them just that little bit of a hint.
So this is
a sun-kissed look.
A sheer kind of liquid serum-y drop that Justine loves from Junk Elephant. It's a drop you could add to your. You can. It's not a tanning one, is it? It's just a cosmetic.
It doesn't tint your skin. It's just something that washes off, and so you can dilute it to the level that you want to add a bit of color to your face. And actually, a client bought it from me as my personal trainer was using it, and I would always be like, Chrissy, your skin's it always looks amazing, but do you know you're not wearing sunblock? She's like, that's out of bottle. She gifted me my first one, otherwise would never have known about
That's
it.
how you discovered it. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you. I think that's all we have time for today. I hope everyone learnt some tips for the men in their lives, or any men that are listening, if you picked up some new tips. And if you have any questions for either of us, please ask us on our Instagrams. I will leave our links and handles all below. Justine will be happy to answer your questions. And if you liked learning about this and any beauty topics, I will have much more topics on the podcast. Please subscribe and leave a review down below. We'll be very thankful. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for your time. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. There'll be many more, I'm sure.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.